Buckle up, baby. Ares is gonna shoot from the hip. Right now. Alright, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show, right here at 6 Scale Cantina. So first off, our next live episode is going to be this coming Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. I will have a full panel within the Cantina, and we'll be serving up all the Star Wars Hot Toys talk for you, again, this coming Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. It seems like forever and a day since we had our last live episode of the Market Value Chart Show. So I am really chomping at the bit to hang out with you all. Again, book it on your calendars, please, this coming Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So, let's go into the first topic for this podcast, which is, does price really matter when you are collecting Hot Toys? So, let's say that you're in Walmart or Best Buy or GameStop. And, you're in line for a game maybe at GameStop that you've been, waiting for a while and in line with everybody else to get the game, or, you're looking for something at Best Buy, or you're looking at this or that, and you have a certain, you're going to get a new television. And, you already have a certain expectation. You have a certain budget. You have a certain price that you worked out with yourself, or maybe someone that you live with, your friends or your spouse, what have you. And you see some other televisions while you're there that you really like and you have looked at, but you really couldn't afford. But you don't get those because it's not within your budget. That's because price matters. And then when you start thinking, well, I really, really do want that other television. And actually, I want that whole other entertainment, system to boot. And it's only $2,000 more, or $500 more, or $300 more. And I really just want it. You don't sometimes go ahead and pull the string on it because you really can't afford it because price matters. It's kind of like if you're in GameStop, as we talked about, and you're going in there to get that new game. They got it reserved for you. You're in line, what have you. And then you see, oh, wow, yeah, and there's this other game, and there's this other game, and there's this other game. And you really do want those games. You really do you maybe even love those games. Why aren't you just saying, okay, throw this in a cart, throw that in a cart, add that to, oh man, I love that, go ahead and put that in. Why aren't you putting it in? You're not putting it in because price matters. Because it's not within your budget. Even though not only would you not mind having it, it's just price matters and you just can't afford it, or you have a budget, or it's not, you're going to do this first, and then when you're done playing that game, maybe you'll go ahead and trade it in and get that other game. It's also kind of like if you go to the supermarket. You know what I'm talking about. You've been at Walmart, Aldi, any of those Costco's, any of those Albertsons, whatever, And you're like, okay, yeah, we're getting the food shopping. It's going to be great for the picnic. It's going to be great for the holiday. Throw in those steaks. Oh, I like those steaks too. Just throw them in. Oh yeah, throw it at him. Just keep throwing it in. I really like it. I really love those steaks. And then you start getting okay, let's take that out. You know why? Because price matters. So unless you're filthy rich and money is of no concern, it matters. And if it matters with steaks or little things at Walmart here or there, it certainly matters for a $200 plus action figure. Of course price matters. You can't go into this hobby, and there's many of you that are coming in that are brand new, and you have been fascinated and taken by storm by the beauty of Star Wars Hot Toys and those amazing head sculpts that they take 12 days to go ahead and paint each one, even when they're in production for a whole head sculpt to be done to go off from beginning to end. It's fascinating. There's no other action figure like it, and you're excited, but they're $200 plus a pop, and they must average somewhere around, I don't know, 250, 260, 270, something like that. I guess some of them, low ones are 200, high ones 300, 315. That's a lot of money. And just like you can't just buy every single steak that you want, and all that, okay, just throw in all the crab legs and all the lobsters or all the this and all the that. You know what? I was getting that 60-inch TV. Put in that 100-inch one. As a matter of fact, let's get two of them because I really need one over there, and I really want that sound bar. And put that in. You know what? I was getting that new game. Let's go ahead. Actually, I want all those games. Just put them on in. The reason you don't is because you're mindful of what you can afford deep down subconsciously. You've already had a plan of what you are going to go ahead and get. And you've considered the price. And you have a general idea before you start wheeling around that shopping cart. And before you go ahead and get that paycheck from your job. You have an idea. You have an idea if you can go on a vacation this year. Maybe you can go on a vacation. Maybe you can go on 2 vacations. Maybe you can go on 5 vacations. But I really want to go on 10 vacations. Why don't you? Well, I can't afford it, but I really would love to. Okay, well, of course you would. But the reason you're not is because of price. And that's the same reason why price is so important when you go into Star Wars Hot Toys or Hot Toys in general. When you go ahead and let's go pull up on the screen here, and you can see that we're at the 6scalecantina.com. And we're going to go there in a little bit for a segment. But let's actually go ahead and go to Sideshow. And forget about considering price. And price obviously matters when it comes to figures that are within the secondary market. But let's go ahead and consider price of figures that are at retail and on pre-order or in stock at Sideshow. So you can see right here, you may want every one of these figures. Every one. And just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. But some of you may not be able to get every single one of these figures, just like you can't get every single television that's in Best Buy, or every single game in GameStop, or every single high-end food that you want at the supermarket at one particular time or another, or 6 vacations in a year, or 10 vacations in a year. And you could only get a certain amount. And let's say you wanted 3 figures. Let's say you wanted Boba Fett, this one that's in stock, and you want IG-11, you want the Bounty Hunters, and you wanted this OG Mando with the Blurrg. But you only had $535, $55 or so, all in that you could have budgeted out. You have to make a decision. Should I buy the set, the Blurrg with the OG Mando for $555, or for around $536, almost around the same price. Do I want the two figures? And all of a sudden, price matters because now you're thinking, I could only get one or these two. Now you start looking at the price. So suddenly, price matters. And then what you have to start looking at is, what is it that, besides price, that you really want? And say, well, I already got a Beskar Mandalorian. Let's just use this as an example. But I don't have a Boba Fett. And I don't have the IG-11. And I really, really want that. I was just thinking that this would be cool. Then you already answered your question. To go ahead and pick up the IG-11 and the Boba Fett, which is going to be a little bit less expensive anyway than this Mandalorian and the Blurrg. But if price wasn't a concern, you just throw it all into the cart. Doesn't even matter because money's no object to you. Of course, price matters, especially when you're collecting figures of this price and magnitude. There might be certain people that are just very, very, very well off and well to do. Someone that has the money of like a big celebrity, maybe someone like Tom Brady, and maybe less of a concern because you just go ahead and buy them. I'm sure that someone like him works within a budget anyway, but money there can just probably buy all the hot toys, may even be able to buy the whole company. But can you do that? You're talking about, you know what I'm talking about. You're in the supermarket at Walmart, or you got the cart, or you're in Costco, or you're in Sam's Club, or you're in Aldi's, or you're here, or you're at the hardware store, or hardware. Yeah. You're putting everything in the cart? You're not. And the last time I checked, a dozen eggs wasn't $285 like Bo-Katan. You're talking about hot toys here. Does it matter about price? It sure does. It absolutely does. Just because it's not in the secondary market yet doesn't mean it doesn't matter. And as far as concerning yourself, does price matter? What it's going to be? Once these go ahead and go on waitlist, or what they're going to catch in the secondary market? Again, unless money is no object for you, and it really doesn't matter, just go ahead and, like I said, this isn't a dozen eggs. This isn't even a sound bar for your television. This is a $220 action figure. It's just a collectible. And if you just go ahead and it doesn't matter what this is going to do in the secondary market, really. It doesn't matter that you may lose a certain amount of money on this because they're not fetching right now. It doesn't matter. I talked about this in the last episode. There's a certain amount of figures you can do this with. Do it with one, do it with two, do it with a handful of them, maybe 10 of them. If you do these with every single $200 plus action figure where it just doesn't matter. I can spend $400. It's okay if I only get $200 back. I could spend $20,000 on hot toys. It doesn't matter if I can only recoup back $9,000. I don't care. Oh, okay. Price matters. Especially if you're coming new in this hobby, like I was talking about. you're enthralled with the head sculpts, or you're enthralled with the engineering, or how they go ahead and do some of these troopers and so on and so forth, this is a very, 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 very expensive hobby. And unless you're filthy rich, where it just doesn't matter, it is so, so important to follow not only the secondary market price trends, but how those trends point to what is going to happen within the secondary market for all of these figures that are up on pre-order or in stock at any particular retailer at this price or magnitude. You can go ahead and take a look. You might get into, let's say you get into vintage mint on card original Star Wars action figures. You're just coming into the hobby. And you start looking at everything that's out there. And let me tell you, you want all of them once you get into this. A lot of them. You want all the hot toys. I know I would love all the hot toys. I'd love them all. Just can't afford them all. I have parameters. I have stop gates. I have a budget, like when I go food shopping. I have a budget, like when I go on vacation. So I can make sure that I can go on another vacation in the future. I'm not just reckless in what I buy. I just don't go around with my head buried in the sand, not following price because price doesn't matter. Don't concern yourself with price, really. Don't concern yourself when you go shopping. Don't concern yourself with your utilities bills and your electric bill and your mortgage. Don't concern yourself. Don't concern yourself. $7,000 for a glass light. Star Wars mint on card R2-D2, which is basically the same R2, but it has the droid's R2 paint on it. $7,000. Price no concern. You know how long I've wanted this action figure? I want this action figure. I love this action figure. You know what else I'm looking for? I love this too. AFA 85, near mint, minty mint. Clear bubble, $4,500. Does it matter, price, or does it not matter? Love this. 21 back Fett. I really don't care that the pop is missing. The proof of purchase is missing. It's 29 watchers for $4,000. It'll go. You won't need a best offer on it. Doesn't matter about the yellow bubble. Price matters. So what I've done before in my collections is I've found ways to fill gaps. So let's say you get into vintage mint on card collecting. And again, unless you're filthy, filthy rich, you can't just buy every one of those. But you know what? You can get a lot of those without the card. You can get a lot of those action figures that aren't still in the package. Now you can go ahead and you could fill the void in your collection by having characters that you want that are not necessarily going to put you in the poorhouse for getting them. And then the characters you really, really, really want mint in the package, you could have those on there. And that all comes with budgeting and planning and having parameters down. And once you have that foundation laid out, then you write down all the things that you really love. How difficult is this? Not very difficult at all. It's kind of like if you're going to say, I like The Empire Strikes Back's my favorite movie. Revenge of the Sith is my second favorite movie. My third favorite movie is A New Hope. My fourth one is Rogue One. My fifth one is The Phantom Menace. My sixth one's Return of the Jedi. My seventh one is so on and so forth. Okay, well, then you already know, but you love them all, right? There's a deep love for them all for some of you. That's the same thing with action figures. Well, I really want the Clone Wars Ahsoka. I really want the Mandalorian Ahsoka. I want the Clone Wars Maul. I want the 501st. I want the Coruscant Guard. I want the Death Watch Mandalorian. I want the IG-11. I want the Captain Rex. I want the Rey from Rise of Skywalker. I want the Kylo. I want the Lando. Okay, well, now put them all down. Which ones do you want the most? And if you say to me, well, I really want the Clone Wars, is really where my head's at. Well, you've answered your own question. I could only afford 5 figures. Well, then you just eliminated more than half of the ones I talked about. Then for you, you're going to get the Clone Wars Ahsoka. You're going to get the Clone Wars Maul. You're going to get the 501st. You're going to get Rex. You're going to get the Coruscant Guard. So on and so forth. That's what you're going to do. You're going to plan those out. And maybe it has nothing to do with a genre. You just like your favorite characters. Okay, well, just like you list out your favorite movies. Ahsoka is my absolute favorite character. Okay, well, then you're going to get the Clone Wars Ahsoka. My second favorite, I want them all, but my second favorite one, I really just love IG-11. Okay, well, then you've answered your own question. That's the second one. And then you keep going down. And then all of a sudden, but I really like those other characters too. Well, maybe there's something outside of Hot Toys you can get to kind of fill in that gap. I have quite a lot of action figures that aren't Hot Toys, personally. That doesn't mean I'll never get them in Hot Toys. But I have different gaps that I could fill in. And that's called being concerned about price. When you have a budget and you have a plan. And also, when you've been in this game as long as I have, and I've been in this game a long, long time, you learn that it's very, very important to concern yourself with price, especially when you're talking about one particular figure. I have concerns about the Jet Troopers. So I'm not going to go ahead and pick those up for Hot Toys for personal reasons. I might go ahead and say, you know what, I want that, and I'm going to pick it up from another line. I might pick it up from a Black Series line. Okay, well, that's a lot less expensive, and I don't care if that one tanks. I can lose the $10 on it. Or I already got it for a cheap price. I could go ahead and there you go. I got a Jet Trooper on my collection. It fills a gap. I got that character. There's all different types of ways that you can go ahead and do this and not have your head buried in the sand and have fun while you're doing it. It's fun going shopping sometimes when you're going for a vacation or a cookout or something, isn't it? Unless you start getting really myopic and you need to buy the entire supermarket. It's fun sometimes if some of you, if you ever got that new car, unless you just start getting really, but I really wanted the Lamborghini. Price matters. And the resale value matters. Because if you're budgeting and you're allocating funds and you're mindful of expenses, you're not going to go ahead and purchase a home or a condominium that you're not going to be able to resell back. It's only that you don't care. Who's going to do that? Unless you're just filthy rich. You want to be able to go ahead, if you've got to get out from under it, and know that you could at least get your retail value back from it. And it's not that you're going in on this trying to go ahead and make $1 off it. And some of you do, and it's great. But if you're not going in to make any money off it, you want to at least know that you could go ahead and maybe get some money out of it. How many collectors out there are selling so they can go ahead and get other figures that they're more into now? Or maybe go into a different collection? Or maybe go ahead and do some work on their home? You've heard a lot of that before, too. Hey, I sold some figures, so I could go ahead and get this. Well, if you bought just Jet Troopers, boy, that's a lot of money wasted down the drain because you weren't paying it. But I just wanted the Jet Trooper. Maybe buy it from a different line because that line doesn't make sense right now because you're going to lose out of it. I gave you the example about General Grievous. And that's a figure that I am buying. But I don't think I'm going to be able to recoup my money back for it. I don't plan on selling. I don't plan on selling any of the hot toys that I have. But if I ever do sell them, I'm keeping an eye on it. And if I sense or sense something or a tremors in the water where these are all going to tank, I'm going to sell them, baby. That's just the bottom line. I'm not going to go ahead and lose on that. Matter of fact, you should pay more attention to the secondary market trends and prices in hot toys than you do in all the stocks or anything else that you do. It's way more important in this because this is far more unstable. And that's just the facts. Does price matter? Absolutely it does. Now, that's going to go ahead and bring me to the next topic for this podcast. And let's go ahead and let's go back to this glasslight R2-D2. Is there hype for this glasslight R2-D2? And I say, no. There's no hype for this. But a $7,000 Ares, there's no hype. There's very low supply and high demand, someone coming into this hobby. But what hype is there for a glasslight Droids R2-D2? There's no hype for Droids R2-D2. There's demand. That's why it's $7,000. There's no hype for Alec Guinness and this 12-back Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's demand. And people that are coming into this, there's a certain desire, a certain hunger for the hunt. There's no hype. You're not sitting in there watching your favorite football team or watching your favorite fighter or getting all hyped up and there's no hype. It's a misused word, just like fear. Fear of missing out. Talked about that in the last episode. There's no supply. There's high demand. That's what it is. It's the same thing with this stuff here. Pulling it up. Oh, there's a lot of hype for Grievous. That's why it's selling. Really? It's still number one. A lot of demand for Grievous is what there is. Well, last I checked, I didn't see Grievous in any forthcoming Disney Plus content. Or was he in the sequels either? No. Was he in The Mandalorian? No. Was he? I didn't see him. What hype? There's no hype. There's demand. Because before they came out with this, you had to spend $700 on a junky one that probably was broken. So you probably had to spend close to $900 to $1,000 on this to get it without any of the joints having difficulties or problems. There was a lot of demand for Grievous. Hype is a very misused word. It's like saying there's a lot of hype for this Kylo and this Rey. What hype? There's demand. Look how many reviews came out on both of those figures. And the IG-11 right below it. How many of the reviews out there? How many channels with reviews? I don't think I've seen one review that didn't talk great about IG-11, Rey, or Kylo Ren. Did it influence me? Yeah. All the reviews influenced me. They have influence. They don't have influence to hype you up. They have influence to present a desire that you may not have had before you've seen it. I didn't have a desire for IG-11 until I saw some of the reviews. And then I got a desire. I didn't get hyped up about it. I didn't spill my coffee because I saw a review of IG-11. If I'm going to spill my coffee, it's going to be from an announcement for a character that I want. Just like if they went ahead and they do a surprise announcement for C-3PO. Whether it has die-cast or not, I'm going to spill my coffee. Because I don't care, because I want a Hot Toy C-3PO. I don't care if they make it out of rubber, to be quite frank with you. I just want it. It's going to make me spill my coffee. The review ain't going to make me spill my coffee. It's maybe going to give me a desire for it that I didn't have before. And when they're making low quantities of these figures, like the 3 that I'm mentioning here, there becomes a demand. All right. So let's see what is changed, what has changed within the Biggest Mover section. And you can see right here, up on the screen, the Short Trooper is back, baby. But the Short Trooper is back on a downtrend. Let's go ahead and take a look at exactly what's been going on, or some examples anyway. So pulling this up on the screen, you can see going back from May 25th, $561 with 14 bids, not including the $25 in shipping. Still a very, very high price and high demand, but not the $600, $700 tier where this was selling. Let's go ahead and go to another one. In this particular auction, this one here, $513.25 US, back from May 24th with 21 bids, not including the near $25 in shipping. And this figure has trended down and has left the $600 tier range and is somewhere around $560 something, I believe, within the market value chart. We're going to take a look at that in just a bit, at exactly what price it's at. But you have to wonder, is it possible that the Short Trooper now is going to continue to sink down, maybe into the $400 tier range, and perhaps even the $300 tier range because of the other Short Troopers that are up on pre-order right now? And I say, no, that's not the reason why. I think there's ebbs and flows, number one. And sometimes you're going to have some specific trends, and especially where there's really murky waters and in a way, disturbed waters, if you will, with that cold front that I'm talking about, that comes in from the sequels, all the controversy, and this hot front of the Disney Plus content that's so exciting, and boom, and then everything's all over the place. You got so many new fans coming in, so on and so forth. And I think that this is more of a product of, more of a result of so many new Hot Toys that are coming in up on pre-order and that are being announced, and that also, quite frankly, recently, hit waitlist. And now they're in the secondary market, that there's only so many cookies in the cookie jar that we could go ahead and eat. And I think you're actually seeing some of that budgeting and some of that planning and some of those parameters being put into place. And I think that that's what's happening here with some of these characters. Is it possible that this figure goes back into the $600 tier range? I actually think It is. I think I could go up in here now, and I actually think it is. It could be very probable once the different short trooper versions start getting released by Hot Toys, much like the Death Troopers from Rogue One actually started escalating in price once the Mandalorian Death Trooper got released. So, do I think that the short trooper is going to go back into the $600 tier range? And I say yes. I actually think that it will. At what point? We'll have to keep an eye on it. Let's go ahead and take a look at another action figure here. And the Mudtrooper. The Mudtrooper continues to be on the downtrend, folks. This figure was, a $400 tier range figure, and more than $400. This was pushing near $450 back some time ago. But you can go ahead and take a look back from May 24th. 18 bids, not including the $330 at 18 bids, not including the $12.50 in shipping, not including the taxes. Really, really, really good seller. Good feedback. Wow. And pictures. Basically new. I mean, wow. And, if you've been looking for a Mudtrooper during the month of May right now, and probably perhaps during the month of June, this is the time. And I think this is the same situation with those ebbs and flows, where you're starting to see that people are, they are starting to budget and allocate more with their action figures. And you got a lot of new collectors that are coming into Hot Toys, and they are going ahead and taking a look at what's they can't get anymore, but they also realize that what's on the horizon as well. And you have to go ahead, and at the end of the day, you have to go ahead and pick and choose what you're going to get, for certain collectors. And again, with the ebbs and flows and all of that, I think that right now, the priority is not necessarily on the Mudtrooper at this, particular moment in time. Now, again, if you go back, and I'll pull up some other ones from the Mudtrooper, going back earlier in May 9th, $311, you see on the screen here, not including the $11.75 in shipping. And let's go ahead and pull up another one. $322 will be this Mudtrooper. This is going back for May as well, beginning of May 2nd. $321.87. Really good feedback, a lot of feedback. 21 bids, not including the $10.75 in shipping. Really good seller here. And if you're looking for a Mudtrooper, this may be the time for you to go ahead and take a look, because for me, if I was looking for this particular figure, I have a limit of $400. If it's a single figure within the secondary market, that's my stop gate if I'm looking for a figure such as that. Some of you have different ones, but right now this is, low 300s, and you have to wonder if you could maybe pick this up for $300, or, can you pick this up right now for like $315? I think you can. And so certainly some food for thought if you were thinking about that. Let's go ahead and see the asteroids there. Yeah, asteroids do not concern me, my friends. All right. So look at this Luke. Look at this Luke. Luke Endor Deluxe. Which, quite frankly, this Luke Endor Deluxe has always been a very, very good selling set within the secondary market. Even before, during the Mandalorian, after Mandalorian Season 1, and after this came out, and this figure was constantly selling, $430, $440, up to $450. So seeing it right now at $500, and I believe that this is up high $550, over the $550 tier range for sure for this particular figure. But this figure, very, very interesting right now, and as I expected, as these, after the season, after a couple months after season 2 finale, these started to trend down again. But just as I expected, these are coming back. And you can take a look right here. Just back from May 24th. $562.91 US with 37 bids, not including the $25 in shipping. Wow. And even going back earlier, just several weeks earlier, back from April 27th, $550 with 6 bids. All 100% positive feedback, with not including the $11.75 in shipping. This figure, folks, all day long, this sells well into the $500 tier range. And is it possible that this Endor Deluxe set plummets once the Mandalorian Season 2 version of Luke Skywalker comes out? And I say no. I actually don't think it is, because at the end of the day, the Mandalorian Season 2 Luke Skywalker is not going to be Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker. And for a lot of collectors out there, not all of them, some of them, but a lot of them, and ones that are coming in, it's the particular segment, the Return of the Jedi or the Empire Strikes Back or the A New Hope, that matters. And this particular set is not a bad set. As a matter of fact, this set in many ways is, to me, almost a DX set. This particular figure, if it had the rolling eyes function, which seems to be a DX exclusive, although I question that now, since the Clone Wars Ahsoka comes with the rolling eyes function. Quite frankly, I don't know what they're really going to be doing with the DX line Hot Toys, and I'm pretty sure that they're, changing that, and we've talked about that on different live shows. But this is a very, very highly sought after figure, and I think even if that Luke one does come out, I think for Return of the Jedi purposes, I think that this figure will always continue to be, at the very least, a $450 tier range figure at the end of the day, no matter what they come out with for the Mandalorian. This set anyway. And also the Luke by itself, the Endor Luke by itself, is continuing to trend up. And that is a very high $300 tier range figure. The same thing with this Luke Return of the Jedi. This continues to stay steady. In the market value chart, it's somewhere around, I don't know, 450, 460, somewhere around there. We're going to take a look what this price is in just a little bit. But you can see back from May 29th, the Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, MMS 429. This just sold for, with 6 bids, $451.77. And there's a lot of demand for Luke in general. Look at this Luke A New Hope, I was already telling you, is selling well into the $400 tier range. And, we're going to take a look at where that's sitting right now, but that continues to trend up. All those original trilogy figures are trending up, and those A New Hope ones are really, really crazy right now. But this is $266.01 with 6 bids. Just back from May 30th, that it was missing not just one piece, it was missing multiple pieces. And it still went for more than some other Star Wars Hot Toys figures that come brand new. Because there's a huge, huge demand right now for Luke. Not a whole lot of hype for Farm Boy Luke. But there's demand. Good look at the biggest mover section. Absolutely crazy. Darkside Anakin continues to be a wonder. And even when you have not feedback over 20, positive feedback, but when you're spending this kind of money and you got a feedback of 7, and this still hits close to $700. It goes to show you where Darkside Anakin is right now within the secondary market. And I can tell you right now that this figure is absolute fire within the secondary market. And is it possible that this Darkside Anakin is going to go ahead and eventually hit the $900 tier range? And I say yes. I actually think it is. And it's going to be, as I talked about in the last episode, very, very interesting to see what happens when they go ahead, Hot Toys, and they either reissue this in some way, shape, or form. And if it is some type of variation, watch out. Watch out for sure on that, because it is going to be absolutely crazy. For sure. Attack of the Clones Yoda, that figure is showing signs of hitting the $375 tier range. It's trending up. And this figure, I think it is very, very probable that this will hit the $400 tier range, and probably within the next several months, the way right now that this is tracking. And you have to wonder, what if they go ahead and they did a third reissue of this Attack of the Clones Yoda? Would that finally sink these down back to Earth? And I think that there's a lot of variables we have to look at for that, because you've got a lot of people who are coming into Hot Toys, and I suspect that you're going to have a lot more collectors as the content on Disney Plus continues to come out and continues to evolve, and as Filoni and Favreau continue to work their magic, just like Grogu's doing the magic hand thing. If they continue to do this and keep generating, this excitement, I am telling you right now, they can go ahead and do a third reissue of that Attack of the Clones Yoda, and it will bring the price down in the short term. And then once that comes out and goes on wait list, it'll bring it back up again, because you've got more and more collectors that are discovering an amazing thing called Hot Toys. And is it possible, and I mentioned this in the last episode, that there's some type of magic going on with Hot Toys? With all of, that the head sculpts, and people looking at them going, wow, I've never seen anything like this. I'm going to sell my collection, and I'm going to get into this, or I got to start collecting these things. And I think long term for Hot Toys, and when you're looking at a lot of these figures within the secondary market, is it possible that even when they come out with reissues and different variations and stuff like that, that they will hold their value, because the Hot Toys name and the original ones is building up to be something special? And I'm not quite sure, but I think that there is something there. Remember, with the vintage toys from the 70s, the late 70s and the early 80s, that was certain magic. And quite honestly, when they came out with figures later on, they were just better than those toys. And sure, I'm sure that there's companies that can maybe start in the future, can surpass Hot Toys in the future, or something can happen, or this technology will look at that. But there's something here with this, and there may be some nostalgia with that, and we'll have to keep an eye on. But is it completely out of the realm of possibility? I don't think so. I think it's something we keep an eye on. But I think with a specific toy company right now, just like there's some magic with the vintage collection with Hasbro, I think there may be some magic with Hot Toys. Certainly something we'll have to keep an eye on. But anyway, let's continue to go down this list. All the A New Hope figures, they continue to trend so high. You see Leia, you see Han, you see Obi-Wan. Wow. Chewbacca, continuing to just Chewbacca now. Chewbacca now is just on fire, continuing to move up. Darth Vader, The Empire Strikes Back, 40th anniversary. We talked about that last week. That continues to trend high. It hit the $350 tier range and rising. The Heavy Infantry Mandalorian continues to trend up ever so slowly, inching towards that $450 tier range, or right around over there. So that's going to be really interesting. The OG Mandalorian is very slightly continues to be on a down trend, somewhere between, I don't know, right now, $325 to $350. And as I mentioned before, with that OG Mandalorian, what you're going to see is very similar to what happened earlier when it did that. It's gonna eventually stabilize at 350. Then you're going to see it start to simmer up. Again, 360, 375, and it's going to hit the $400 tier range. Even though you can go ahead and pick up that figure with the Blurrg and shipping and everything in 620, 30, 40, whatever it's going to be. That OG Mandalorian all day long, at the end of the day, is going to be a $400 to $425 tier range figure. For sure. Commander Cody continues to trend up ever so inchworm slowly up in there. The Incinerator Trooper continues to trend down and down. That one actually trended down even more. We're going to take a look at where that's sitting within the market value chart. Jinn Erso. Jinn Erso has come down to earth. The deluxe version of her, and we're going to take a look at where she's sitting at within the secondary market. But as she's coming down, the Imperial Disguise version is rising up. And they're actually very similar in price, but it's very, very interesting because the Imperial Disguise one had to go ahead and actually catch up to where the deluxe Jinn Erso was. And if you remember, that Jinn Erso broke like a $600 tier range, I believe, and then came back down to earth. There's a little bit to ebbs and flows. Do I think it'll go back up in there? I actually do. I actually think it'll be more around the $500 tier range. I'll have to see exactly where she's sitting. But the Imperial Disguise one was kind of low, but that kind of caught up to it. And both of those are above the regular non-deluxe version. But let's go ahead and take a look at some recent things for Jinn Erso. So you can see deluxe and still selling well into the $400 tier range, an upper $400 tier range. And you can see right here, this Jinn Erso Deluxe, $463.58 with 39 bids, just back from May 26th, not including the shipping. And let's go ahead and look at a Imperial Disguise. And you can see right here, Imperial Disguise version, $484.27 with 50 bids back from May 26th. And yeah, these are very, very high tier range figures. We're going to see where they're sitting. For sure. Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon continues to sell. It hit $325, $320 range a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. And I've spoke about this before. You know, is it possible that this Qui-Gon Jinn goes to the areas of where Count Dooku is? Absolutely. This Qui-Gon will be there. But right now you can see just back from May 23rd, $325. Really good seller. 351 feedback. So, yeah. Crazy. Let's continue to look down this list. So, you see Tarkin on this list, and Tarkin is creeping up the $500 tier range. And look at this. I'm looking at this the first time with you. I was following this particular Tarkin auction. And this Tarkin, just back from May 30th, which is when I'm recording this today, 25 bids, $614, not including the $34.45 in shipping. And you have to wonder, is it possible that this Moff Tarkin is going to breach the $600 tier range? And I think we're going to have to keep an eye on it, because the Tarkin and Vader is in the $800 tier range. And if you're wondering again, what's going to happen with the OG Mandalorian? What is going to happen with that particular figure? Because you could go ahead and pick up the OG Mandalorian in a set with that Blurrg, and pulling that up on the screen. People, you could pick up a Vader and Tarkin if you really look good enough, around 800 something. But people are choosing to just save the extra $100 or $150 or $200 just to get the one. And that's how some collectors think. And that's why this OG Mandalorian is not going to be a bottom sinker, even though this is available. Because not everybody is going to go ahead and choose to get this at retail for $620 or whatever dollars it's going to be to get this in. If they can go ahead and get the OG Mando for $400 or $420 and save $200, because you're seeing that trend happen within the secondary marketplace, and that's how you kind of evaluate how certain things are going to go. Very, very interesting. The Emperor. The Emperor continues to be back on fire. Came out of the $600 tier range, came back recently in the $600 tier range, and is surging up the $600 tier range. You can look back from May 26th, $625 with 16 bids, free shipping, not including the taxes. Wow. Let's see what happened here with K2 Erso. Still selling. Ended today, May 30th. $605. Little lower than, where's the trend? Maybe 611, 625. I'll have to take a look at it. I guess a deal, right? Again, when there's an average of 625, that means it sells in 500s. It means it sells around 700. But, wow. $605, 16 bids, not including the $38.55 in shipping. Wow. Probably had $10 to it's more like $615 it sold for. To be quite honest with you. Very, very interesting. This Stormtrooper. This Jedi Patrol. TK 14057 continues to trend up. See, back from May 24th, $554.64. Not including the shipping, 13 bids. Very, very, very highly sought after figure. We're going to see exactly where this is sitting within the secondary market. And now you're starting to see some other figures. You know, we go ahead and take a look at this Remnant Trooper. It trended down, rised up, steadied out, rised up a little, then trended way down. Now this is starting to show signs to creep back up again. Just like eventually the Incinerator Trooper is going to come back up again, just like we saw with the Death Watch Mandalorian from the not the Death Watch, the Death Trooper. There's going to be ebbs and flows, especially with a lot of the new figures coming in. But at the end of the day, these troopers are really good. Here's a Remnant Trooper. This is starting to rise. You can see back from May 26th, 15 bids, $355.69, not including the $20 in shipping. Absolutely crazy. Krennic continues to be insane. I mean, just this figure just continually sells. You can see this one here, $480. Back from May 15th. Wow. Absolutely, absolutely crazy. And you got some figures that are starting to trend down. Ones that, you know, we haven't talked about a whole lot. You can take a look at this. You know, there's certain figures that are hot air figures that have prices that do not reflect what they are, what you think they are. And the reason the market value chart has had this in the very low 300s is because that's what it's worth. At least right now, anyway. You know, and a couple of times, seeing these being tried to sell over the last several months. And, you know, $299. And just, you know, the 19, you know, the reasonable shipping. And this figure's not moving right now. There's not a whole lot of demand for this figure at this particular price. And this figure was supposed to be an over $400 tier range figure, $500 tier range figure, and a rare figure. And I do think this is a rare figure, to be quite frank. There's just not demand for this figure right now. And you have to wonder, is this Finn figure going to go ahead and go even down? And I don't think so. I think that this one's rare enough where It has some ebbs and flows. I think at the end of the day, I think with a lot of the stuff coming out right now, for me, this would be the fin to get. If I was going to go ahead and get a fin. And I am, you know, slightly interested in this figure. But again, I think really right now where the demand is on this figure, I just it's not fetching it right now. And so if you're looking for a fin and you're looking for the fin with the First Order Stormtrooper outfit, I think right now is the time to buy it. Do I think it'll stay this way? I don't. I think it'll rise again eventually. But I think for those that are trying to sell this right now, there's no demand for this right now, and I haven't seen it for months. To be quite frank, let's go ahead and go back to 6scalecantina.com. And let's actually go to the market value chart. Remember, whenever you go to the market value chart, hit that current value column a couple of times within the current value column so that you get the highest ranked figures to the lowest ranked figures. So it's easier to navigate. So let's take a look real quick at what's going on. See chart last updated today, May 30th, 2021. A lot of changes. Anakin Darkside still trending up, now at $805. This was $805 and rising. Emperor Deluxe, $629 and rising. There's your K2SO, $629 and on the rise up. We all know the story about the regular Anakin Skywalker. Here's your Short Trooper. Your Short Trooper, MMS 389 from Rogue One, has dipped out of the $600 tier ranges, trending down at $579. Still, wow, it's affordable. not really. And we'll have to keep an eye on this one. But right below it, there's Grand Moff Tarkin at $566. Is it possible that this hits the $600 tier range? I'm going to just say it right now. I say yes. Crazy. There's your Luke Return of the Jedi Deluxe, Indoor Deluxe, $544 and rising. Wow. Wow. Obi-Wan Kenobi, $535 and rising. That's getting up there. Look at that Jedi TK14057, now $533 and rising up. Your Jinn Erso Deluxe actually is still a $500 tier range figure. $524 and rising down. Will this figure go back into the $400 tier range? Well, we'll have to see. I actually think that probably looking at this that it won't. It might go down a little bit more, but I think it might stay within the $500 range. We'll have to see. Han Solo A New Hope, $500 and still trending up. Let's continue to look at some more of these. There's your Jinn Erso Imperial Disguise, $465 and rising. We're going to have to go ahead and keep an eye on that one. There's Krennic, $444 and rising. Chirrut, $444 and rising. Heavy Infantry Mandalorian hasn't hit $450 yet. And like I said, I thought that figure, anyway, at the end of the day, was going to be somewhere around a $450 to $500 tier range figure when it was all said and done. So, it actually wouldn't even surprise me if this kind of goes maybe down. Like, 400, 425. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Well, I think at the end of the day, by the end of the year, into next year, after the Book of Boba Fett, or maybe during it, that will this figure be a $500 tier range figure? I believe that it will be. There's Chewie right below Count Dooku. They're both at $438. Wow. There's your Jinn Erso Non-Deluxe, $428. Crazy. Commander Cody, holding at $402. Kylo Ren, The Last Jedi. Let's continue to scroll down. Looking at some, there is your Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader, still at $355 and rising up. Attack of the Clones Yoda, $355 now. It's right neck and neck with the 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back Vader. And your Remnant Trooper, $351. There's a Stormtrooper from Rogue One, MMS 393, $347 and rising. Wow. The Mudtrooper, $330 and declining. Ray and BB-8. Ray and BB-8 going ahead and trending down a little bit. No surprise here. This figure $312 and rising and trending down. And I think with the forthcoming Ray Rise of Skywalker, certainly a lot of anticipation for some people getting that figure, and I think that that figure might be the grail out of all of them. I still think this Ray and BB-8 always had some ebbs and flows, honestly, to be quite honest with you. This figure wouldn't surprise me. Goes into $200 tier range, it goes back up into the 300. It's just kind of, where it is. Qui-Gon Jinn, actually, 313 is where it is. I think it's getting close. It's showing signs of hitting that $320-something tier range. We'll have to keep an eye on it. There's your Finn disguise. So, it's trending now. It's at, $305 and trending now. We'll have to keep an eye on that figure right now, but there's not a whole lot of demand for that figure right now. If you're looking for Finn disguise, you're looking for a Mudtrooper, like I have highlighted here, this may be the time. I don't know if it's going to go ahead and stay that way. That's for sure. So let's go ahead and go to the final segment of this podcast. And actually what we'll do is go back to Sideshow, where we were before previously in this episode a couple of times. We'll sort everything out, Star Wars Hot Toys wise, bestsellers wise. Of course, I'm going to be including in, as I have been recently, the Sideshow 6-scale action figures only, just so I could point out some things, including this General Grievous, which, as you could see on the screen, is still number one. And what's very telling about this, actually, when you sort everything out, Hot Toys, forget about Star Wars, Marvel, DC, all of it put together. Number one right now is Echo. And number two is Stormtrooper Commander right now. Over everything, including everything Marvel and everything else. And that means that Grievous is ahead of all of that. So you have to wonder, did Sideshow capture the minds, imaginations, and spirits of collectors by putting out a figure that obviously had a very high demand? They sure did. Just look at this here. And when you look at a lot of these figures, and it's all Hot Toys after that, but not too bad far down. You got R2-D2, $165, which is a decent price for it to get an R2-D2. And then, as you go below that and get below these other figures, you see that, above the Dark Trooper anyway, and certainly above Gideon, okay? And above the Shore Trooper Squad Leader, above the Tusken Raider, above the Jawa and Gonk Droid, so on and so forth. You have Luke Skywalker Deluxe from Sideshow, C-3PO from Sideshow, Darth Vader from Sideshow. Now, the Darth Vader Empire Strikes Back from Hot Toys in a 40th anniversary packaging just very recently went on waitlist. But it does go to show you that there is demand for a lot of these original characters, a lot of these legacy characters, such as these, and also like Grievous, as we just looked at beforehand. And when you look at the success of all the new stuff on Disney Plus, and how much that's pumping, I mean, you could take a look, even this Grogu, which we've gotten so many of them, but this Grogu right here, it's selling better than Captain Rex and IG-11 and Boba Fett. There's a lot of magic going on with Grogu. And I want to talk about that at the end of the episode a little bit. But, with everything we just talked about with Luke Skywalker, whether it's the A New Hope Farm Boy or the Luke Skywalker Jedi Master in the secondary market, or the Luke Endor versions within the secondary market, and we didn't talk about it this episode, but the Luke Crate, which has a pretty high demand within the secondary market as well. Is it possible that one of the next forthcoming figures is going to be this? And I say, yes, baby, absolutely. I mean, and not only with Luke, but right now you've got, one of the greatest heroes of all time on the screen right there, and came back in, The Mandalorian Season 2 in a very dramatic and awesome and powerful way. And then with Grogu right here. And there's a lot of magic with this Grogu right now. Baby Yoda, the child. This character has captured the imaginations of not only fans, die-hard fans, Hot Toys fans, hardcore fans, casual fans, generic fans, non-fans, grandpas, grandmas, great-grandpas, great-grandmas, cousins, distant cousins, aunts, whoever. It's phenomenal. And it's not just about Hot Toys making money. I can absolutely see Disney telling Hot Toys, let's make this figure. Do I believe that this figure is coming this year? Yes. Am I going to spill my coffee, baby, on this? You betcha. The impromptu live stream when they announce this? You can count on it, baby. And I tell you what, just the way that they went ahead and surprised us with that Ahsoka Tano, while the Clone Wars Ahsoka's up there, this isn't going to do anything. For the snow speeder pilot Luke, as a matter of fact, it's going to elevate it. And to be quite honest with you, I actually think that they can go ahead and put at the same exact time this figure. And I can see them putting this out in Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary packaging. To go along with that snow speeder pilot Lucas is also in 40th anniversary packaging. And the excitement of Luke is going to go ahead and, maybe help these figures in some way. Sure, there's going to be other ways where some people are only going to get certain ones. But I'm telling you right now, I could see them doing this for sure. Do I think that this Luke Bespin could come out of nowhere this year, just like Lando came out of nowhere last year? And I say yes. I really, really do. And I think as a lot of the original trilogy figures, a lot of the legacy figures have gone, on waitlist now. Goodbye, Qui-Gon. Goodbye, Attack of the Clones, Yoda. Goodbye, Darth Vader. Goodbye soon, Boba Fett, Empire Strikes Back. There's going to be a new era, a new dawning of these figures that are be coming out. And I think they can be heavily packed with Luke Skywalker. And I really do believe that this could be coming. And even this year. And I actually believe this is an absolute no-brainer. And I believe Disney would want it with a Grogu. And I think that this is very, very possible that these could be coming very, very, very soon. And for sure. So, I'm on high alert for these. I think that this is going to be coming. Without question, very, very soon. And before the book of Boba Fett. I really, really do. And as far as this Luke Bespin, I know they didn't bring it on the last show, but they did tease this twice. And I think, is it possible that this could even elevate it more? And I think it is. And you know what? It's hard to kind of go ahead and pinpoint exactly what Hot Toys is going to do. But I had a strong impression they were going to release the Ahsoka Tano from The Mandalorian, despite the Clone Wars Ahsoka Tano being up. And I can tell you right now that I'm getting that same impression about this Luke Skywalker with this Grogu. And I'm getting an impression that this can be coming out as well. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see exactly how they do it. There's many different ways that they can go ahead and do this, but I actually could see them coming out with both. Very, very interesting indeed. This could be. And before we go ahead and end the show, that is going to go ahead and bring me to the last couple of pieces here. And so, real quick, some changes on some red, yellow alerts and some non-alerts. So, nothing has changed with Kylo and Rey. No surprise there, really, with Rey, with all the intricacies of that particular figure to finish that and get that over here. A lot of times, it has happened many times before, where they get released in Hong Kong and then we've got to wait several months. So I'm not surprised there. Red alert her, red alert Kylo, for sure. Not making a lot of these. Changing my alert on Rex. Changing my alert on Rex. With this going ahead and being delayed until when basically the other Clone Wars figures are supposed to be coming out this particular year, I do not think this is a yellow alert anymore. I think that this is regular. Now, I do believe that this will not sit in stock for anywhere near as long as the Commander Cody in any way, shape, or form. But I don't think that there's a yellow alert. I think that these will get in stock. And I think because of this being delayed to September, October 2021, I believe that they will fill all the pre-orders on this. And with that kind of a production delay, it is possible, while still difficult, that they can go ahead and plan more with this type of delay, especially because they haven't started producing this already like they did with the Rey. I think that they can go ahead and plan more if they went ahead and move this. And I think that this can potentially sit in stock for a couple months. It won't sit in stock for as long as Cody, but I really take the alerts off this for now. This will get in stock. Don't sleep on it. But just like the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and the Echo, and the Stormtrooper Commander, it's going to get in stock now, I believe, just like that. That's my call on it. So things change. My things change. So that's going to go ahead and bring to a conclusion this episode of the Market Value Chart Show. So go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoy the content. And please go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe to 6 Scale Cantina. I so very much appreciate all of your support. Again, hit the like button and subscribe if you're watching. It absolutely helps. And I so very much appreciate all the support for sure. And for those of you that may be looking for a little bit more, like I mentioned in the last episode, maybe you want some heightened analysis. Maybe you want some expanded thoughts. Maybe you want Aries raw, baby. And maybe you want some behind the scenes of what goes on at 6 Scale Cantina. Maybe you want some unboxings, because I don't do reviews or unboxings. I'd be terrible at that, because I like everything Star Wars. But maybe you just want to see my face and help me see me spill my coffee. You may want to consider becoming a Cantina Insider. You can go ahead and join the channel for that extra stuff. Just go ahead and go to the channel. See that little join button. You can click it and it tells you everything that it comes with. If it's something that you think, hey, you know what? I think I'd like this. Go ahead and join. I'm doing it. Certainly got the first couple of episodes up there, including the latest Insider exclusive video, which talks about Grogu joining the NWO, brother. Not really. But this was a lot of fun. I actually had a panel member for this Insider exclusive video. You know who it was? It was Grogu. Me and Grogu did this together. Very fascinating, actually. The Force is really strong with this little guy, without question. And just like the Force was strong with the NWO, for some of you that know what that was in the wrestling world, because not only did that take the wrestling world by storm, it took the world by storming and captivated everybody. And the same thing's going on with Grogu, and the same thing's going on. I use other examples as well. You may want to go ahead and check this out. We got a lot of cool stuff that's up on there. If it's something that you think you might be interested in, get some early access to stuff, click the join button. Learn more about it. Anyway, that's enough of that. I've got the live episode of the Market Value Chart Show coming this Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. As I said at the beginning of the podcast, I will have a full all-star Hollywood Squares panel, baby. And I'll be serving up all the Star Wars Hot Toys talk. Book it on your calendars, please. This Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Please join our Facebook group. It's doing really, really well. We're getting a ton of new members. We talk a lot about the content here. We have a lot of fun on there. I got the link within the video description below. You may want to join that. Instagram's in there too, my link to that. This Discord group I participate in for Hot Toys is in there as well. They're cool as well. Remember, many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. See you Friday.